I would like to thank you, first of all, for participating and being good sports. So if you are new to class and you didn't participate in the survey, you missed something. All right. That picture that I put, just to explain, it's a picture with an inscription at the bottom left corner that says Hawaii. Right? And let's look at the respondents and what people said. All right. Remember, this is anonymous, zero judgment zone. That's the whole point of surveys. Trees, hot, tropical, volcanoes, tropical, forest, beautiful, Trinidad. Oh, we have a Trinidad person here from Port of Spain. Island, tropical, tropical, aloha, island, beautiful, green, tropical, peace, scenic, tropical, Jamaica. Oh, someone said Jamaica and tropical, right? For those who've just joined us, we had welcome. We had a survey last week, last session, and this is the picture that I showed you, and I've just discussed what your responses were. Okay. And then there's this one, dear students. I showed you another picture, right? And it had something here written Congo Basin, but that was all that was there, right? And let's look at what the respondents said, okay? Jungle, rain, rainforest, forest, jungle, monkey, gorilla, jungle, forest, nature, green gorilla, greenery, rainforest, camping, rainforest. So here was a survey whose respondents are, by and large, majority North Americans based at Howard University. And we had a response, and the response was overwhelmingly, there was a plurality on the first picture that it was a rain forest, like plurality, exceptions notwithstanding. And there was a plurality that the second one was a jungle. Right. Typically, which one has a negative connotation? Jungle or rainforest? If your parents say you are acting like you're in the rainforest, you're grounded. Or you're acting like you're in a jungle, you're grounded. Which one has power? You've already answered jungle. So, dear students, the whole point of today's class, the whole point of the survey was to explain and expose us to the benign ways by which narratives are formed and to have us ready for engaging with Africa. What is a narrative? A story, a general impression that's formed. Today, we are going to talk about, remember, zero judgment, no value, no one is wrong, no one is ignorant. Remember that, no one is ignorant. Jungle, yes, jungle, connotation. And jungle is going to be associated with Africa, right? Okay, let's move on. We're discussing. Then I showed you this nice picture here. Thanks, when you're done. This is, he used to be a president in the United States, I think. Yeah. Obama, joy, unity, Africa, 10 suits. Obama thinks this. President, black, patriot, excellence, nation, Obama, excellence, American, etc., etc. Then I showed you another picture of someone else, if you didn't know, who was also a president of this country, right? George W. In fact, he was president right before President Barack Obama, right? So respondents said, women, pride, love, women, 9/11, politics, event, women, EU, black women, union, white, royalty, women, unity, question mark, culture, East, tradition, weird, integration, etc. So we could safely say that there's overwhelming amity, good thoughts, good words. If we were coding these words and put 1, 2, 3, 1 being 5, 4, 5, 5 being the best, the score would be higher for Barack Obama, and then for George Bush. In America, in this group of respondents that are American, North American students with sprinklings of friends from the rest of the world, including the Caribbean, Africa, and Asia. But in this majority American respondents, that was the response, right? But if we, dear students, crossed from Asia and from the Caribbean and crossed from America and went to Africa, you will be surprised And we did the same survey in Uganda. There are children today named George Bush in Uganda. Yeah. Why? There's something to do with health if you're a pre-med person. What was going on in Africa in 2000s? Decimating people. Oh, yeah. No South African does not have a relative that hasn't died of HIV or AIDS. No one in Botswana who's over the age of 30 or over the age of in Zimbabwe. Huh? Devastation. Eswatini. But and here's the point. And Africans, we'll discuss this when we're talking about family. Do Africans think they have a choice whether to have children or not? Take a guess. The answer is no, absolutely. It's not for me or us here to say what's wrong, what's right, or should they not. I'm just telling you the facts. African will have children, will have children. And so we were finding in 2000 that while these countries were devastated by HIV/AIDS, Africans were still having children because of what we'll discuss when we're discussing family. And the children were getting HIV/AIDS until this man here, again, it's not who Dr. Nyandu likes. I'm here as your professor. He signed something called PEPFAR, which took your parents' tax dollars and gave them to the people in Africa so that they could buy antiretroviral drugs. What did antiretroviral drugs, what do they do? If a mother has HIV/AIDS, it stops with them. It stops mother to child HIV/AIDS, passing from mother to child transmission. Absolutely. Right? And here we are same people, remember, while we're here, black diaspora, black people all throughout the world. But Obama, Africans, if we did this in Libya or in Somalia, Obama was the first American president to authorize widespread bombing by drones on the African continent, or supported 2011 deposing of Muammar Gaddafi, such that half of us here, if we are men or women, if we go to Libya today, because they deposed someone that had guarded the country and it was very secure. But now just Google Libya slavery. Google Libya slavery. Libya. We can all be arrested and then our parents get a phone call to wire $5,000 or else we'll be killed. So, Dr. Nyandu, why are you hating on Barack Obama? That's not the point. No. We're making a point here. Here is the point. Two people, black and beautiful people, can be looking at the same person and have vastly different takes, dear students. What you as Americans think of your presidents in America is vastly different from what Africans think of your presidents. Remember, we're talking about your Africa. So it's the Africa you have to live with. That's why this is important, right? So if you go, why do Africans have a favorable view of this person and not that person? Now you begin to understand Africa. So Dr. Nyandu will always be challenging you. Do not judge Africa or study Africa with the lens of yourself from American perspective or Trinidadian perspective. Okay? That's why we put him there. Then I put this picture right here. This man, let's see what people said, right? Okay, what did you say? What did the respondents say? Army, trained, serious, leader, genocide, diplomat, power, war general, power, scary leader, revolution, respected, military soldier, dictator, powerful, Burkina. Oh, okay. Big general, officer, absolutely. Dear students, absolutely. He's the current leader, let's say dictator of Burkina Faso, right? Until recently, one of the poorest, still in many instances, in many cases, the poorest countries in the world. Like think about any index that you can think of, mother to child, infant mortality, but he's young. 60% of the population of Africa are young, so they are you. And we in our world, in the Western Hemisphere or in Asia, sometimes depending on which country we come from, we think democracy is a panacea for everything. So democracy equals good life or the way towards good life. If it's not democratic, automatically not good, not really. Thanks to the internet, social media, and the flattening of the curve for communication, dear students. The young people of Africa have begun to litigate this idea of that democracy equals development. So when this guy took over, it was the young people that supported him, and he immediately banned this nonsensical idea that girls should not go to school. Oh yeah, just remember, Africa as it is, not as we wish it to be. That's why I'm here. Right? We were teaching Africa. Yeah, there are still countries in Africa where girls don't go to school. Why? Because it's a waste of time to teach a girl. She's gonna grow up and get married and take the family resources with her. So why teach? Why spend money on her when she's gonna get married? Absolutely. This man put a stop on that. Forced marriage, stop that. Certain jobs that women couldn't get, stop that. Right? So in other words, then why did Dr. Nyandu include this guy here? I don't like him. I don't have to like him. But he forms the tapestry of an Africa that you must know about. I'll be a bad professor if I didn't show you. An Africa where people as young as you are refiguring out their lives and asking themselves hard questions and coming up with unexpected answers. Okay? All right. So things we used to think were automatic, they are not. All right. Then I showed you this picture of this fellow over here. This fellow, I showed you a picture, and I think, yeah. Let's see what the respondent said. Award, honor, medal, Asia and America ally. Asia achieved Trump medal, exhausted colonialism, control leaders. I love this service. Service, glaze, ceremony, show respect in a sense. Award, Asia, Kim Jong Un, Chinese, wrong country, but I love it. That's why we do them. There's no right or wrong country, wrong answer. You cannot. Why is he here? When we're asking a question, what is Africa? WTH does he have to do with Africa? Oh, everything. And the argument, narrative, remember today we're going to discuss narrative. The narrative often is that you can't discuss Africa without discussing the Chinese. Absolutely. But you can't also discuss America now without discussing China. But usually we don't talk about that. We always talk about, oh, China is all over Africa. Those of you who ate breakfast today and you ate bacon, those of you who eat bacon, Smithfield Company, the largest bacon maker, okay? Hickory Smoke, that's a Chinese company now. Volvo, that your parents drive, that's a Chinese car now by ownership. GE, your GE Electronics and generator, that's a Chinese owned, okay? Waldorf Astoria in New York, that's Chinese. When you go to England and you get on that black taxi, the black one that you take pictures next to, that's owned by the Geely Steel Company of China. So China, if China is everywhere in Africa, China is everywhere in your states. Other than Canada and Mexico, China is the largest trade partner of every one of your states, exceptions notwithstanding. So why is he here? Narrative is important, dear students. And today we're discussing narrative. Another reason, of course, is that if his economy sneezes, okay, or coughs, half your parents' 401ks get wiped out. So he's an important person, not only to the Africans, but to you as people living here. Absolutely, if you are American, if you are Trinidadian as well, my Caribbean people, they can tell you. So in other words, Chinese influence, if it's pernicious in Africa, it's pernicious everywhere, including right here in the US, contrary to what we often hear. And that's why I put, and that doesn't mean Dr. Nyandu likes Xi Jinping. All right. Then we put this lady. You are not, yeah, that one, you're not allowed to not know this lady. She's the first woman president of Africa. And for that alone, I like her. And you are not allowed to finish this class without knowing who she is. So Liv Johnson, president of Liberia. Was she a good president or a president? Not for me to say. But there she is. Who is this person? That's a soldier from Liberia. Who is this one? He's wearing a different uniform. You might know. Come on, let's see. Which army is that? Huh? That's the US Army uniform. That's General Ward. Two people, both black, both children of genetically Africa, children of the African diaspora, but they belong to different worlds, right? They belong to different worlds. Africa then may be looked at as a political Africa, where each country belongs to Africa, the entity. It has laws, right? It is a nation state. There's a constitution. But also Africa is a geographical, we'll discuss this more next week, space. But if these people took off their uniform, dear students, if these people took off their uniform and we're just walking like it happens also, I travel a lot in China, and sometimes I'm walking around middle of nowhere, China, and I just want to see a black person. Sorry, my Chinese friends, I'm like, I just want to see a black person anytime. It's been 5 days. Then you just turn a corner, you see a black person, you don't know where they come from, you just like, black person, we're friends, and they know it. So we have dinner, we become friends forever. But why are you friends? Because you saw each other in China and you wanted to see a black person, right? And I said, oh, my brother, oh, my sister. That's conceptual Africa. Why is it conceptual? Because what if the person is from Trinidad? What if the person is from Detroit? They're not from Africa, kind of politically or geographically, but they are conceptually. So Africa as a concept is a very important thing to know. You only hear this in this class. Conceptual Africa. So these two people, if America declares war on Liberia, they'll kill each other. These brothers, conceptually, politically, they are not brothers. They are soldiers. They could easily become belligerents. Absolutely. Bound by their constitutions and geographies. Concept. So we must know this difference. Africa is a concept. Africa is a concept. So the concept that binds Africans together, whoever they are, that's it. But we must now separate it as well in order to understand current Africa and certain things that are sometimes we're like, why is this happening? Why is brother against brother? Well, because politically they're not brothers. They belong to two different states with different constitutions. All right? It's sometimes difficult to engage with. Then I showed you this picture. Right? And let's see what the respondents said. Tribe, protection, tribe, animal, culture, tribe, cheetah, propaganda, tradition, tribe, Zulu, a tribe of warriors, war, culture, fur, Taino. All right. Then I showed you another picture. I showed you this picture, the students. What did you say? We said king, tradition, king, parents, dashiki, culture, prince, royalty, pride, home, drip. Yeah, lots of it. Riches, and yeah, the such pure gold in Ghana. Oh, it's just Ghanaian gold is amazing. Ashanti, royalty. Oh, okay. Traditional Ghana, etc. Right? Look at that. It almost looks orange. It's like it makes you feel like you're not wearing gold when you're wearing gold. Then I showed you this. And what did you say? What did the respondents say? Okay. Wealthy, king, empire, wealth, royalty, DR Congo, comfortable, hand, clean, rich, embroidery, religion, leader, money, kingdom, elegant, royalty, tradition. I messed up the number. Oh, big man. All right. So yeah. Those are three people that you. And then I showed you this picture. This picture. Let's see. Oh, sorry. Who are these people? Prince who? Prince and okay, and then Prince who? William and Harry. And yeah, one of them married an American. Which one married an American? Harry, and she married, what's her name? Meghan. Okay. Children, how many kids do they have now? I think 2. Yes. We know that. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what you guys said when you saw them. All right, Prince, mockery, Prince, leader, Brit, Europe, England, Harry, white people, land, imperialism, military, security, racist, British government, God, England, army, royalty, England, security, imperialism. Okay, be that as it may, then those were the responses. But let's see. We know who these people are. We know who the babies are. We know what their name and their mother. But we don't know who this one is. King of the Yoruba people of Nigeria, 60 million people. Or this one, King of the Ashanti people, give or take 30 20 million people. King of the Zulu people, 25 million people, give or take. Right? We don't know who their names are. And I have a reason why. You don't have to answer. I have a reason. Narrative. We have no business knowing who these people are. By where we are predominantly. We have no business knowing who this person is really. We don't. Why? Because we are creatures of our environment. And in this class, we don't judge that. We engage with that, dear students. Right? The media we watch, right, determines who we are going to know, who we are going to gossip about, who we are going to care about. Indeed, in the times of social media, including X or whatever platform, the algorithm that is geographically determined, the algorithm in America determines who's going to show up on our timeline and feed or not. Whether Merkel's, she lost her shoe last week, that we're going to see that or not, or whether this person has been enthroned or not. So the point why these people are here, dear students, is not to castigate. We are not ignorant for not knowing who these people are. We are simply creatures of our environment, and we are going to engage with this fact. Okay? Which state are you from, Sissy? California. Which county? Okay. Do you know there is a committee in every jurisdiction in the US, either in the county, city, or state level, that sits down? These are people you've never met. You have no business knowing who they are. They sit down every frequently and decide which textbook and myself will learn in every conceivable subject. So what textbook they pick on history is going to determine how much I know about the transatlantic slave trade. What textbook they pick on geography is going to determine how much I know about these people, about these here people, or these people. So dear students, what I'm trying to say here is that now is illustrate how narratives are formed in a benign and innocent ways. And we are creatures of our environment. That's what Dr. Nyandi's words, in that we, not a product, but we are not immune to these narratives because we are in that environment, dear students. So if we went to a public school, now let's control. We're controlling for and my parents giving us extra. Most people don't get their parents giving them an extra geography textbook. Yeah, I mean, come on. Controlling for uncles and Jada and I being put in one subject. So my point then, dear students, is that in benign and innocent ways, wherever we are going to know about Africa and what we know about Africa today is predetermined by our environment. So we discuss media, social media, and education in North America. All right. So I think I've absolved people. Okay. You don't have to feel bad for not knowing who these people are. You have no business knowing it because we are from the Bay Area, etc., etc. So here we go then, dear students. I like this. I call it paradox alert. So if we went around, then conceptually we're one people, right? But then in certain ways, then we become not in the big African diaspora, such that we are decidedly, if we're in this area, products of a North American kind of Western narrative on anything we can think of. Okay? All right. And this is not bad. Remember, Dr. Nyandu is not saying anything that's bad. That's not for me to say that. All right. And then I showed you another picture. I showed you this picture. Okay? Oscars, Queen, pageant, beautiful, beautiful black woman, gorgeous, beautiful music, gold, beautiful Queen, beautiful, beautiful competition, fashion, fancy, famous, pretty, Thames, Cleopatra, right? She's a celebrity in South Africa, didn't go to college, would not be sitting here where you are as college students. Just a regular person is known throughout South Africa. Then I showed you this picture, right? I showed you that picture, right? And let's see what our respondents said. Albino, free, bear, tribe, tribal practice, culture, albino, women, blonde, empowerment, culture, tradition, tribe, culture, clothing, albino, tradition, southern, cultural uniform, tradition, femininity, culture, Game of Thrones, unique. Absolutely. Thanks for answering. All right, dear students. Did not go to college, glamorous, in a preponderance of replies here. Okay. These are college students. They are your age. Actually, these are young adults. Okay. They are pre-med, they're pre-law. They're going to be important people in South African life. They're in South Africa. They're having a festival, okay, an important festival in their culture. Then, of course, we know they don't walk around dressed like that, but during the times of festivals, that's how they dress. If you are young, unmarried, and that's who they are, kind of celebrate virility, youth, whatever we think about. And here they are. So these are educated people. They're going to drive nice cars when they finish college and live good lives. When the Europeans met the Africans, dear students, we've arrived at the point now of why I put them there. When the Europeans met the Africans, they had a debate about everything that has to do with human existence, like everything. What is God? What is not? What is holy? What is not? What is family? What is not? What is sacred? What is not? What is modesty? What is immodesty? Throughout, generally speaking, the European argument won out on many of these questions. But throughout Africa, certain people stubbornly contended their version of whatever we're talking about. Because you are living, your Africa is much more confident than the Africa of previous times. You will find in different regions of Africa, Africans, and it's also determined by who colonized you. We're going to discuss that 2 weeks from now. The blind hand of fate that determined you shall be colonized by France or Portugal or England also had a determining effect on this. We'll discuss in a few weeks. But be that as it may, the Africans today, some of them, when it comes to modesty, when it comes to whatever, holiness, family, they are pushing back, and that's the Africa we're going to also be exposed to in this class. Now, someone in Nigeria, someone in Kenya thinks this is immodesty as well. Is that person bad? No, they're not. I'm just telling you this so you know that there's no uniformity amongst the Africans about these things. Here is the big point why I put this for you. The Europeans meet again. Remember, with the Africans, when they meet, they have an argument. The Africans say, the Europeans said, that's indecent. The Africans say, no. They say, why? They say, hold on. Everyone say, email. Don't think, just say, email. See, what happens when you don't think, you just say it. Your ear knows what it heard. Email. Go. Look at you. All right. Good. Male breast, female breast. You will know a lot about what people think is important or what people way of thinking and philosophy, but by the names they give to things. So according to this Nguni language, a man has breasts, it's male breasts. A woman has breasts, it's female breasts. So the anatomy of these languages is such that both people have breasts. But I've arrived at the point. The Africans, this is not an object of sexual anything, dear students. That's why in African languages, you can talk about this and it's not considered indecency or R-rated conversation. It's just a body part. That's why those of you who've been to Africa, you'll never see a woman feeding a baby in a stinky bathroom, ever. And that's why when I go back to South Africa, I know I'm back home because a baby cries in a train. A woman opens her shirt and feeds the baby, full of men, and no one thinks the world is ending because there's nothing sexual taking place. So, in other words, the meeting of two worlds that are diametrically opposed on some of the most important things in this world. The European said this is sexual. The African said no, it's not. This must be hidden. Why? Well, because From here, this determines immortality. This determines whether your line stops and we never hear from your lineage again or doesn't. This right here. This just feeds a baby for our people or for anyone else. It's just there. Ibele isibele. Very important, dear students. Why? Because your Africa, the Africa of today, is still having these conversations and it's still pushing back on something. But remember, though, it's not uniform. Before you say, well, I'm from Kenya. No, in Kenya, they will think this is indecency. So when you're thinking then on Google, that's why you can see this on Google, because the Zulu people push back and say, we are not indecent because it's our culture. Right? All right. Then I showed you this last picture. Let's see. Let's see what you said about it. Coal, gas, coal, Congo mines, rock, mining, lava, coal, war, earthy Congo, diamonds, coal to cook, rocks, mining, rocks, coal mines. Yeah. Coal mines. Interesting. Okay. That is not coal, dear students. That is something called coltan, worth more than many things that come out of the ground. Well, none of you is sitting right now without coltan in your hands or in front of you. How you swipe left, swipe right, coltan. You would never be able to do that without this coal looking. Where does it come from? 70% of it, Africa, mainly from Congo. That is why in this class then, Egypt, South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria are key countries. Ghana, key countries by culture. Congo, a key country by experience. It's a country that has never known peace ever since independence. Even since it got independent. If the Garden of Eden is in Africa, it's in Congo. Right? That's why Congo is a key country in this class. Coltan, dear students. So are you participants in blood mining? Are you participants by buying an iPhone? Must you stop to say, no, really? All right? We're here for it. All right? So in other words, then, narratives are important, dear students. What we derive value in, what we love, swipe. Our narratives are shaped by our environment. I've made an argument in this class. I've made an argument that our narratives are shaped by benign ways, by innocent ways. Forget media. The algorithm now shapes our narratives. More than anything, however, our very education system, and this lead, I'm not saying what's bad, what's good, it's not my job, but our education system shapes our narratives. Whether we know who the king of the Ashanti people is going to be or the king of the British, narratives. Now, before we're even hard on ourselves, you will be well to know that most people in South Africa may kind of guess by the kente cloth that it's a king somewhere in Ghana, right? Most people in Nigeria would guess that it's a Zulu king somewhere in South Africa because of the leopard print. But most Africans, let me say that, most Africans wouldn't know also who this is. Why? Because also their narratives are shaped by their media. And that's why in this class, I didn't just have CNN, I didn't just have BBC, I didn't just have Al Jazeera, we have CGTN and all the other different narratives. Because if we are products of our narratives and we'd like to explore various narratives, we also want to engage with different narratives.